Hey there, CJ Math students. Welcome to classwork homework 5.9, equations with distribution and like terms. So check off that you watched the video. It's due tomorrow. Calculators are okay. So key thing to remember is that when we have variables on the same side of the equal sign, we can combine them. We can add them together before trying to do anything. So if we take a look at number 1, we've got 6x and 4x are like terms. Those can be combined to become 10x plus 1 equals negative 9. And now I have a simple two-step equation, right? Since they're on the same side, I can combine them. When they're on different sides, I had to move them by using inverse operations. Think of that equal sign as like a brick wall, right? So two-step equation, I just go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides because I want this to become 0. So 10x is equal to negative 10. Sorry, I didn't give you a whole lot of room here. But divide by 10, and your answer becomes x equals negative 1. So D is your answer. I would take a moment and try and solve number 2 on your own. For number 3, again, anytime you see minus signs, might be a good idea to do plus negative and understand, okay, I've got two like terms on the right-hand side of my variable. Let's combine those and write a new equation. So negative 19 equals 5 plus negative 8k, right? Negative k is like negative 1k. Plus negative 7k is negative 8k. All right, so we go ahead, draw our scales of justice. I have 5 plus negative 8k, so I want to make 5 0, right? So I go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. So minus 5 gets me negative 24 is equal to negative 8k. And then I finish off by dividing by negative 8, right? So k, in this case, is equal to 3, or 3 is equal to k, so B. Again, I would, if I were you, pause and try and do number 4. Sometimes like terms can just be constants, right? They don't always have to be variable terms. Number 5, solve by distributing first. We know how to distribute. We just take the outside number and multiply it by both terms on the inside. So we have negative 7r, watch the sign, plus 35, because a negative times a negative is a positive, equals 84. And then we got our old friend, a two-step equation, right? Draw our scales of justice. We want this to become 0, so we subtract 34 from both sides. Excuse me, subtract 35 from both sides. It cancels off, and we get negative 7r is equal to 49. Important to drop down that negative. Pesky negatives will get you all messed up if you don't keep track of them. And so r in this case is equal to negative 7, because 49 divided by negative 7 is negative 7. I would pause and try and do number 6 if I were you. For number, we'll call this 7, it says Jaden is saving money to buy a bike that costs $290. He saved $140 so far, and he plans on saving $25 each week. Write and solve an equation to determine how many weeks Jaden will have enough money to buy the bike, right? So we know we have an equation. We know we want to buy the bike. So it's basically what he saved plus what he saves times the amount of weeks is going to be equal to the money for the bike, right? So we know this. We know what he saved is 140. We know it's going to be 25 per week. We just don't know how many weeks, so that's X. And we know that the bike is equal to $290, right? So you need to fill out what do we know, what do we want to find out, and then you need to solve that two-step equation and go ahead and put your answer over there. So these back problems, this is new, right? So these are Aspire questions. If they wanted to test you on an objective with equations or expressions, this is mainly going to be expressions. These are what Aspire problems might look like. So notice not a lot of space to show work, but I put you a box over here to show what you're thinking. So I'll do a couple with you just to show you kind of how to do them. So it says the cost of Camp C is going to increase 6% next summer. Which expression represents the expected cost for next summer's camp? So an important thing to remember is 6% written as a decimal is actually 0.06. So anything like A, that's out because it says 0.6, right? Also, the cost C is going to increase, right? So we need an addition problem related to there. So B is out because that says nothing but multiplication. So we got the cost of the camp increasing by 0.06, right? And really, the only options left are C and D. Now, if you take a look at C, it says 1 plus 0.06 times C, and D says C plus 0.06 times C. And D is actually going to be your correct answer because this 0.06, it's 6% of current cost, right? So if it's going to increase by that, it's going to go up by that. So like if the cost of the camp was $100, basically what we've said is that next year's camp is going to be 100 plus 0.06 times 100, which means next year's camp, if you do this in your calculator, is going to cost $106. So it's gone up by $6. Right? All right. Next it says use the diagram below to answer questions 2 through 3. So this is why I've graded this out, because you don't need to write anything here. It says the rectangle show is measured in inches, where m is the width. Right? So it says which statement is true about the rectangle's perimeter? Well, let's write down, hey, we know perimeter is distance around the shape. And let's actually find out the perimeter. So if we've got m and 3m, and then we've got m here and 3m here, the perimeter would be m plus 3m plus m plus 3m, which would be equal to, if you combine all those, 8m is your perimeter. And so basically it says the perimeter is 3 times the width. Well, remember the width is m, and the perimeter, p, perimeter is 8m. So is the perimeter 3 times the width? No. Is the perimeter 3 inches more than the width? No. Is the perimeter 8 times the width? Seems like it. Or is the perimeter 8 inches more than the width? Well, more than would suggest that we're adding something in our expression. 8 times would simply just be 8 times m. So C is your correct answer, right? I'll leave you to number 3. All right. Number 4, it says Bree bought a dress that was discounted 23%. Discounted 23% is going to be important. If the non-sale price was D, which expression represents the cost Bree paid for? So you've got the dress and its normal price, which is, we have no idea what it is. We just know it's D. And then we're going to have a 23% discount of the normal price of D, right? So something like 0.23D. And we know discounts, we're just going to be subtracting. So there we should say discount is subtraction, right? And we basically have found our answer here, D minus 0.23D. So answer D is your answer. I'm going to leave the rest on your own, but that's exactly how you want to be able to show work. 5 should be very simple, talking about equivalent fractions to decimals there. That's it. Call me if you have questions.